It's Tru.f.lo.s. Tru.f.lo, True Force Loneliness Sunday is now Tru.f.lo.s. Number 10. It's Valentine's Day coming up. Isn't that nice? You know, you think of Valentine's Day, you think of little hearts, or as Koreans do, the little heart. So isn't that nice? Except it's fucking depressing because, hey, you know, even though I did like a certain movie on Friday and thought it was amazing, I didn't care about the politics. Even though I got one thumbs down, I got one. Well, whatever. I don't care. I don't care what people think anymore. Just because we're true force loneliness people doesn't mean that everyone believes in treating women like punching bags and killing them, okay? If you're looking for someone like that, go fuck yourself, unsubscribe, and find someone else. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this group that I formed, we don't believe in physically hurting women. We just believe in physically ignoring them and talking shit to their face or talking shit at them, but not hurting them, okay? Domestic violence, assault, committing, gun violence upon a female. Go to another group for that. Go to Reddit. Go to some underground hate group forum for that. That's not what we do here. Okay. Having said that, we've got Valentine's Day coming up. I do believe it is on Friday or Thursday. Let me try to process my brain because I'm thinking when did I think it's Friday. So we think of all the pressure you have to put to give loved ones a Valentine. Now, there is a movie that I think of when I do think of Valentine's Day. It's not Groundhog Day, though even though Phil saw his shadow this year, or didn't see his shadow when we got spring, it's been cold. It's another Bill Murray movie. Now, this one's called Broken Flowers. Today, we're just going to go over a little bit of Broken Flowers, and why I feel like it's the best Valentine's Day movie so far. Now, the overall plot, I don't want to try to spoil too much here. What you're dealing with here is a letter, an ambiguous letter given to Bill Murray's character, who used to be in computers and high-tech stuff. He had that fun time working as a computer programmer. And he gets this pink letter with pink ink, pen writing to say that, something about dealing with a son, with a son that this woman from a long time ago writes to him and says, oh yeah, you have a son and he's looking for you. He's going on a road trip to come find you. So you got Christopher McDonald, you got Sharon Stone, you got Tilda Swinton. So you got four women that, that Bill Murray has to deal with on this road trip, on this quest. It just starts with the mailman delivering the mail and him reading about the son and who is this son and who is this person. But it's him going back to the women that he ever fucked or had relations with. And this is complicated. Complicated for a man like Bill Murray's character. Don Johnson, I think is the name. So Don has to figure out, it's not like the other movie. Remember the other movie where it's based on a real life story where this guy had sex with all these different women and then all the children came back to find him when he was working at the zoo, I think. That was a different movie, but that's not this one. It was just a possibility or probability that Don Johnson had a son, and that what does he do? Does he go back and reunite with them, or does he exist? Is he real or not? And what were these women, these four women, the Tilda Swinton character, the Sharon Stone character, what were they all about? So at the beginning of this, he's living with Sherry. This is a girl that's not exactly necessarily related to the four women, or is she? There's no way to know. So obviously living with the girl of his dreams didn't work out. So, she wants a family. He doesn't know what the hell he wants. I think we're sort of like Bill Murray in our own way. We're forced to be alone, but we don't, we've had maybe a shitty life, a shitty suffering in our childhood or teenagehood, or, and we become aloof, we become inept, we become emotionless or apathetic to the women around us. Sometimes that's on us, and sometimes it's on the women. And that energy to fall in love is gone. So you're meeting this man who's retired at the end of his leash, like he can't commit to this woman, and yet somebody from the past says, hey, we have unfinished business, which is sort of a Tom Likas, your sperm is a blank check kind of thing. But it's like, what is happening? what is your life now? Are you just a retired person who lives as a hermit? Are you trying to rekindle a flame with an old love? What are you doing exactly? Are you just going back to your ex? Is that what you're doing? But it's all about somebody that had nothing to do, who was born, who had nothing, a love child, who had nothing to do with any of the stuff that was going on between Bill Murray and, Tilda Swinton and Sharon Stone. And there's this one actress who plays Joaquin Phoenix's mom in The Joker. She is one of the women that Bill Murray visits. So here we got Commissioner Gordon.
I gotta go.
We got Don Johnson's best friend here. Keep forgetting the actor in this name.
Want me to keep the lever?
Yeah, it's Jeffrey Wright. Yeah, got Commissioner Gordon here. Jeffrey Wright, before he tackles with Robert Pattinson, having this tension of, you don't know the answers. Robert Pattinson says, yes, I do know the answers. I'm Batman. I know everything. No, you don't. So it's going to be very strange how that movie turns out. But yeah, so Jeffrey Wright plays Bill Murray's friend, who's trying to help him solve the mystery of this letter. And, is there really a son? Who is the woman in his life? And there are about 5 women total, but the 5th one doesn't exist because she died in a terrible car crash. So it's a very strange journey for him. There is no happy ending. There is no wrapped in a bow ending for him. It's very off-putting because you have to watch this movie several times to understand it and how it relates to loneliness and coming at the end of your ropes and looking back at everything you've done. Because I have to assume that many of us have dated, and if we've had sex, many of us maybe have dated, or maybe some, but I don't think, because some of us may be religious and maybe we don't do that, or maybe we just don't date women at all. But some of us had a dating life. I had one, and it's not, it's like Bill Murray said, she left.
Yeah, me too.
So it's just very strange like that. Yeah, this is, it's hard to see, but it's him before he makes his journey. So Jeffrey Wright's spoken to him about, this is before, this is in 2004, before smartphones and tablets. So, you had to print out all your websites on paper and look at it. I used to do that a lot when I would use Google Maps and try to get to my destination. I would print out everything on paper and look where I'm driving to. So that's what he has to do. He's on, oh no, actually it was MapQuest. Does anybody still use MapQuest anymore? Anybody? So, Bill Murray has to figure himself out. And let me see if we can't get a... So, he's trying to figure himself out at this point. It's tricky because, this whole thing could be a farce. It could be a lie. It could be that he doesn't have all the answers. And nothing he does is going to matter. But that... even if there is something dramatic or not happening, he can't really respond. Now, what he's doing here, before I kind of wrap this commentary up, is what we all do. We check out women all the time, but we can never really interact with them. There's always some barrier, whether it's crossword puzzles or being on their phone or being on their tablet or talking to somebody who isn't like us. It's an unusual thing. We sit there and we observe. And we don't really interact. And this is kind of the thing with him, is that even when he's with Sharon Stone and with Tilda Swinton and the Joker's mom, and I forget who else is in this, but even when he's with these women, he's distant, he's aloof, he's remote. It's like he's not even in the room. It's like there's not even a care in the world. Like, what can he do? He's there. It's like he's there on that plane, but he doesn't really talk to anybody. So what can he do? What is he to do? And it's very complicated. I forget the name of the other actress. There's one more actress who's she's a healer. She communicates with animals. I forget her name, but she was in the 1973 version of King Kong, or 1976. It's just, there's different things. I mean, that's how it is. It's very remote. It's a very remote attitude where it's like the girls will talk or the girls are in their own world and he's in his own world. And that's sort of how we are. So here we have our cast. We have Jessica Lange. She was from the King Kong. So we have Jessica Lange. We have Tilda Swinton. We have, forget her name. Yes, she was in Joker. She was the one that Joaquin Phoenix has to stuff with a pillow. Sorry to spoil that, but it's on DVD. You can check that out. So, what does it teach us? What does this movie teach us overall? It teaches us that when we see love stories about how two people come together, whether they're gay or straight, but here it's about finding yourself within the sort of confines of Valentine's Day. Some people may say that Birds of Prey is a Valentine's Day movie, but that's just girls who are not all powerful as Captain Marvel, as some people would mislead you to think. Just fuck the media, as Jeremy Griggs say. But this is about the true passion of a person. And when I say passion, it's in the truest sense in the suffering of what he's doing. Now, to kind of gloss over, does he meet his son? Well, I do know for sure that Homer Murray, who is Bill Murray's real life son, is somewhere near the end of this. So you do see Bill Murray's son. Don Johnson's son, we don't know. We don't know that for sure, but we do know something's going on here, and there's a metaphor for things. Do we meet ourselves on that road trip? See, the road trip represents discovering things, and you do that when you're 18, you're 19, you're 20, 21, you're starting college or in your 4-year college, or maybe you start exploring while you're in college. But you're trying to figure out, should I get married? Should I have kids? Should I, having seen what has happened with my family and seeing what's happened to people in my life, and seeing what happened like with Ewan McGregor, the Black Mask, and cheating on his wife, and seeing people like Candace Patton, who plays Iris West in The Flash, and messing around with the NBA player. It's like there's so much of a joke to discourage us from trying to figure ourselves out when it comes to being in relationships, because we're all going to try to go on Tinder. We're all going to try to go on Zeus and iCupid and Match.com. We're going to try talking to that pretty female in the library or at the yard sale or at the book sale. We're going to try to get her number, or her social media or her email or whatever, and try to stay in touch with her and try to see her. But it's I think as we get older, we get pickier. So these women represent the things, well, except for him. He's still, Jeffrey Wright is still figuring out who's behind the biggest murders in Gotham City and the Riddler involved in the Catwoman. He's on his own mystery there. Batman might be helping or may not care. He's a vampire after all. But the four women, except for Michelle Pepe, the other character who died in a tragic car crash, which Bill Murray does see at the end, they represent facets of his life. They represent things that he is no longer interested in, but that he is. He does care about them. He does. This one is the most fun date he has. Sharon Stone is the most fun time with her 16-year-old daughter. So it's a every man's dream. And the Joker's mom, keep forgetting what her name is, Frances Conroy. Yeah, she's in Joker. She has the husband and very uptight, very, very, kind of American home, cul-de-sac, 1950s recreation of life and working woman. Here you have Jessica Lange as the animal, psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever, communicator, living in her own world. Tilda lives in a trailer, not a trailer park, but at a back dump looking house with a couple of redneck looking hicks, and it's a very strange time. We've met all kinds of women, and I think for us it's like writing that book in our heads. So the point of Valentine's Day for us is it's a depressing time. There's just nothing to really think about. But when you think about all the things we have done and that we hope to not make the same mistakes in the future, we just go back and say, hopefully we don't have any children running around. But if we did, and I think Roger Ebert once said that he would go back and try to reunite with his son, and if you try to do the right things. Some of us may do that. You can be TFL and still try to do that, but some of us don't want to be paying for that kid either. In the case of the son, he would be an adult, so obviously there really is little in the way of doing that. But this is about self-discovery more than anything. It's about what you are now and who defines you. Does a woman define you, or do you define you, or do our children define us? So what is it What is it? Or what are we really about in this world that we are aloof? Now we're going to last call. So this is from Irish Times, but these little cubes, little dice here. I wanted to kind of address the problems of social media. Now, I found I've had a hard time to be in social media a lot. Now, as Joe Rogan has said, and even I've said, that we need to interact with each other physically more. Now, I did a communications class last Tuesday. That's not a class for me. We're just the teacher's assistants. But we were helping Mandarin Chinese immigrants learn how to speak English and pronounce English. The way they were talking about speaking English is almost like they were 5 or 6 years old. But that's right. It's a bit awkward, but it's right. Because if we're learning another language, and most of us in America, we don't care what happens in other countries unless we get bored of the things that happen here and tired and angry, and we want to know what life is like in other countries or other planets. So we go and we learn a new language. We go to another country. We do as the Romans do, and what I learned from looking at people in the eye, showing some videos, some music, doing some children's books, looking at my reference books, and teaching people how to speak, how to read, how to write, is that people were really, really getting an understanding how to look and learn and laugh in English, and it was really good. We had a full house of people, and it was very interesting. We did a game Thursday, but nobody really came to that except like maybe 1 or 2 people. But it was kind of disappointing. But not everything works. But with social media, I find that Facebook is harsh because it's like it's for old people who like to get into politics a lot. I think of old people in libraries. They like to watch CNN or their favorite their news channel, and get all their news from that one channel because they can never do wrong. And I was like, that's not exactly true. They can't. And other people, they like to go on other websites. And so they like to post on Facebook politics and government and pharmaceutical companies. And let's get political about this and this and this. And with Facebook, I can't fucking do it. Twitter, I find that people on Twitter find things to bitch about all the time. There are some people I admire on Twitter who get anal about every little thing, and they have to report every little thing that is wrong in the world, or even every little thing that's right in the world. And it's like their whole lives are documented on Twitter. On Instagram, everybody's too happy, too upbeat, too positive. And nothing makes a true forest lonely person more lonely than when you're on Instagram and everybody has a girlfriend or boyfriend assigned to them, like good genetics would. And everybody has something to do. They're always traveling. They're always something. They're always photogenic. They're always smiling. They're always happy. And I can't be like that. I just fucking can't. Now, on Snapchat, tends to be immature, though it is Snapchat, does get a bit old. TikTok, you get a minute to watch somebody. We're just watching women shake their ass. That's all we're doing. That's what we're doing on TikTok. Or we're putting a gimmick on there. So Reddit, you get one perspective on Reddit or not. Reddit is it's forums, but sometimes you can get underground chit chat, word of mouth. It's as close to word of mouth as you're going to get. So I'm not favoring social media over human interaction by any stretch of the imagination. Yet I feel that with YouTube, at least you get you have a platform for diversity, even though YouTube has been accused in the past to kind of censor people or take out certain people or change the algorithms or pull a fast one. I do see diversity in there. You just have to look for it. Or channels disappearing or, I don't know how much of that is true or what they're up to, but I like to see different kinds of people and different walks of life. But mostly in real life where I can look at them and they can look at me. I'm meeting people all the time now, more with the communications class and my time in the bookstore and helping people with tech. And it really is, it's something interesting for me to do. And I suggest to people to get up and walk around. The only way you can beat true forced loneliness isn't really by social media. Like I said, to get out of true force loneliness, you need to start meeting people regularly, every week, every 3 days, maybe once a month. And if it's any rarer than once a month, it's you're probably lonely. It's like what's your life? What's your life about? Thank you for watching. The bar is now closed. I might go on hiatus for about a week or two. I can't promise I'm going to come back next week, but I'm always trying to do new things. But for now, let's go ahead and play us out with a little bit of music. I'll put in the descriptions what this is. You may recognize it.